Chapter 1. Whispers in the Woods. The autumn sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the edge of Black Hollow Woods. The air was crisp with the promise of winter, and the vibrant foliage danced in a gentle breeze, a kaleidoscope of reds, oranges, and yellows. Cassie Nolan pedaled her bike up to the tree line, her heart pounding in rhythm with the whispers that seemed to rise from the ground itself. She could almost hear the town's warnings echoing through the rustling leaves. Stay away from Black Hollow. It's not safe. Not since Caleb. Who cares? She muttered to herself, pushing her curly brown hair back as it blew into her eyes. If I let fear stop me, I might as well be one of those kids who still believe in the tooth fairy. The lightness of her tone didn't quite mask the dread curling in her stomach. She stopped her bike, letting the front wheel roll to a gentle halt in the fallen leaves. The woods loomed before her, dark and inviting, as if it had a pulse of its own. Cassie took a deep breath, the rich scent of pine and damp earth filling her lungs. The whispers grew louder, a soft yet persistent sound that seemed to echo her own thoughts. You'll be sorry. You'll regret this. Regret? Nah, that's for old ladies and ghosts, she said, her voice shaky but defiant. I'm not going to let some creepy woods or a bunch of superstitions keep me from finding Caleb. She dismounted, her sneakers crunching on the twigs beneath her. The woods felt alive, and she could almost sense the trees leaning closer, eager to listen to her thoughts, or perhaps to share their own. As she stepped forward, she caught sight of a group of local kids huddled near the edge of the woods, their faces taut with fear and excitement. Did you hear what Caleb said? He heard them whispering. The trees! One of them exclaimed, his eyes wide. And then he just disappeared. Cassie's heart sank. Caleb had always been the brave one, the one who led their adventures into the woods, but that was before the town turned his disappearance into a cautionary tale. What if he was right? She thought, biting her lip. What if the woods really are dangerous? But she shook her head, dismissing the thought. Fear is just a story waiting to be rewritten, she whispered, remembering the countless tales she'd crafted for the school newspaper, stories of brave heroes battling darkness. She was ready to be that hero, even if it meant facing the shadows lurking in Black Hollow. Are you going in there? A girl's voice broke through her reverie. It was Lila, one of the neighborhood kids, her face a mixture of awe and disbelief as she took a cautious step back. You can't. Everyone says it's cursed. Cassie met her gaze, a spark of determination igniting within her. Cursed? Or just misunderstood? They say the woods are alive, right? Maybe they just want to be heard. Or they want to eat you, Lila shot back, voice shaking. Or maybe they want to talk about the latest TikTok trends, Cassie quipped, earning a nervous laugh from Lila. Cassie could feel the tension in the air. The children were like little birds perched on the edge of a great abyss, too afraid to take flight. Fear is just a story waiting to be rewritten, she repeated, this time with more conviction. Ignoring the lingering whispers of the group behind her, Cassie took a deep breath and stepped into the woods. The moment she crossed the threshold, the vibrant colors of the world outside faded into a muted palette of browns and greens. The trees loomed overhead, their gnarled branches twisting into strange shapes, casting shadows that danced like specters. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the very ground was pulling her deeper into the heart of the woods. She flicked on her flashlight, its beam piercing the gloom, revealing the twisted roots and thick underbrush. The whispers increased in intensity, a chorus of voices that seemed to mingle with her own thoughts. Why did you come here? You shouldn't be here. Like I'm going to listen to a bunch of trees, she scoffed, her voice echoing back at her. I'm looking for Caleb, and I'm not leaving until I find him. As she ventured deeper, the air grew thick, charged with an energy she couldn't quite place. The trees seemed to shift around her, and for a moment she felt as if they were watching, waiting. She shook her head, trying to clear the thoughts swirling in her mind. It's just the woods playing tricks on you, Cassie. Get a grip. Suddenly, she stumbled upon a clearing, the ground covered in a carpet of faded leaves and strange markings carved into the earth. In the center stood a wooden totem, its surface etched with intricate designs that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. Cassie felt a strange pull, as if the totem was calling to her, murmuring secrets just beyond her comprehension. Curiosity battled with caution as she approached. The whispers intensified, a cacophony of voices swirling around her. Turn back. Leave. He's not here. Cassie hesitated, her heart racing. The totem seemed to resonate with her thoughts, as if it understood her fears and desires. Caleb, she called out, her voice trembling. Are you here? For a moment there was silence. Then the wind picked up, rustling the leaves and sending a chill down her spine. He's in the darkness. The darkness is coming. Stop it! She shouted, clenching her fists. I'm not afraid of some stupid whispers. But even as she said the words, doubt crept in. What if Caleb really was lost? What if these woods were hiding secrets too dark to uncover? Taking a deep breath, she reached out to touch the totem. The moment her fingers made contact, a jolt of energy surged through her, a wave of images flashing in her mind. Caleb laughing, their escapades in the woods, the warmth of friendship. But then shadows flickered at the edges, dark figures looming large, whispering her name, urging her to retreat. Cassie jerked her hand away, heart racing. No, I won't let you scare me, she yelled defiantly, her voice echoing in the stillness. The whispers responded, a low rumbling sound that sent tremors through the ground. You are not welcome here. Leave while you still can. Who says? I'm not going anywhere until I find Caleb, she yelled back, her determination ignited. This was more than a quest to find her friend. It was a battle against the fear that had gripped her town for too long. She wouldn't let it win. With a deep breath, she stepped closer to the totem once more, feeling the energy hum beneath her fingertips. I'm not afraid of you, she declared, her voice steadier now. I'm here to find the truth. As if in response, the whispers shifted, coalescing into a single voice, deep and resonant. Truth comes at a price, child. Are you willing to pay? Cassie's heart raced. What did that mean? But as she stood there, the weight of the woods pressing down on her, she realized she had already begun to pay. She'd defied the warnings, ventured into the unknown, and now stood at the precipice of something far greater than herself. Whatever it is, I'm ready, she whispered, steeling herself. I'll find Caleb, and I'll face whatever is waiting for me in the dark. With that, she turned her flashlight deeper into the woods, the beam slicing through the shadows. The whispers grew louder, swirling around her like a storm. She took a deep breath and stepped forward, heart pounding, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within Black Hollow Woods. As she ventured deeper, the darkness loomed ahead, but Cassie was ready to face it, head on, flashlight blazing. Whatever awaited her in the depths of the woods, she would confront it with the bravery that had been ignited within her. And perhaps, just perhaps, she would find Caleb along the way. Chapter 2. The Heart of Darkness. Cassie Nolan stood at the edge of Black Hollow Woods, a vast expanse of twisted trees and creeping shadows that loomed like sentinels against the twilight sky. The ancient giants towered above her, their gnarled branches weaving a canopy that swallowed the last vestiges of daylight. She took a deep breath, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, tinged with a sweetness that was almost sickening. It felt as if the woods were alive, pulsing with an energy that was both alluring and dreadful. The stories her mother had told her came rushing back, the tales of children who wandered into the woods and never returned, of spirits trapped in the trees, crying out for help. But as Cassie's hazel eyes scanned the darkness ahead, a flicker of determination ignited within her. She had to find Caleb. She had to uncover the truth that lay hidden in this heart of darkness. With her flashlight in hand, she stepped into the shadows, the beam slicing through the gloom like a knife. The light danced over moss-covered roots and the jagged edges of rocks, casting long, eerie shadows that twisted and flickered. The forest seemed to breathe around her, the rustling leaves whispering secrets she could only partially grasp. Stay close, she whispered to herself, though the woods felt anything but welcoming. The deeper she ventured, the more the sensation of being watched prickled at her skin. Suddenly she stumbled into a clearing, her heart racing as she beheld the sight before her. Wooden totems stood sentinel, each carved with intricate symbols that seemed to pulsate with a life of their own. They resembled the ancient script from her mother's old books, symbols of protection and power, but twisted now, corrupted by the darkness that clung to them like a shroud. "Why do you linger, child?" A voice broke through the silence, sending a chill down her spine. Cassie spun around, her heart racing as she ducked behind a tree. Through the gaps in the leaves, she glimpsed two figures engaged in a heated discussion. One was a tall man, his pristine military uniform stark against the shadows. General Drax, a name she'd heard whispered in fearful tones back in town. The other was a woman, her long black hair streaked with silver, exuding a commanding presence that made the air around her hum with authority. Saraphina Velcor, the high matriarch of the Black Crown families. "Do you doubt our power, Saraphina?" Drax's voice was low, yet it carried an undercurrent of menace. "The woods hold the key to everything we seek. With the ritual, we can harness the chaotic energies of Black Hollow and bend Springfield to our will." Cassie's breath caught in her throat. The dark ritual, the very thing her mother had warned her about. But why did it involve tapping into the woods? She strained to hear more, her heart pounding as she pressed her back against the rough bark, her flashlight beam trembling in the underbrush. "Ambition blinds you, Kaylin," Seraphina replied, her tone icy. "These woods are not merely resources to exploit. They are a part of us, an ancient pact that demands respect. If we awaken the remnant, we risk everything." "Respect?" Drax scoffed. "This town has crumbled under the weight of tradition long enough. It's time to take what is ours." Cassie's mind raced. The remnant? Was that what her mother had meant by the spirits of the forest? She recalled the stories of protectors turned into shadows, twisted by the dark magic bleeding from the heart of Black Hollow. The very thought sent shivers down her spine. "Then let us proceed with caution," Seraphina warned, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "The townspeople may be unaware, but the woods are listening. They know what we intend." Cassie's instincts kicked in. She needed to escape, to warn Caleb, to find a way to stop whatever madness these two were plotting. She turned to slip back the way she had come, but as she moved, a rustle in the underbrush stopped her dead in her tracks. From the shadows emerged a creature, its form barely human, more a specter of a child twisted into something monstrous. Its skin was ashen, eyes wide with hunger and desperation. "Please, help me," it pleaded, its voice a haunting echo like the wind weaving through the branches. "I was once a guardian of dreams, but the darkness, it has consumed me." Cassie's heart clenched. This creature had once been a protector, a victim of the same dark forces she sought to fight. "What happened to you?" she whispered, the flashlight beam trembling in her grip. "They feed on our fears, our memories," it wept, its voice cracking. "The shadows twist the innocent, turning them into nightmares. I was meant to keep the dreams safe, but now..." It shivered, looking toward the clearing where Drax and Seraphina stood. "They seek to control the darkness, to bend it to their will. You must stop them." Cassie felt a surge of resolve. This was no longer just about Caleb. It was about saving those who had been lost to the woods, about confronting the darkness that had seeped into her town's very bones. "I will," she vowed, the words spilling from her mouth before she could think. "I'll find a way to stop them." As she turned to retreat, the creature's form began to flicker, shadows clawing at its edges. "Be careful. The woods will not be kind to you, child. They sense your determination. They will test you." With that warning echoing in her mind, Cassie dashed into the thicket, her heart racing. She needed to find a way out, to strategize, to gather her courage. But the moment she stepped away from the clearing, the forest seemed to come alive. The trees twisted and shifted, their branches reaching out like fingers, obscuring her path. "Damn it!" she hissed, her flashlight beam darting around as she tried to find a way through the maze of branches. Just then, shadowy figures emerged from the dark, Drax's minions, creatures formed of the very essence of the forest, their eyes glinting like shards of glass. "Get her!" one of them shouted, lunging forward. Cassie's instincts kicked in. She turned on her flashlight, aiming the beam at the nearest creature, and sprinted through the undergrowth. As long as she could see, she had a chance. The beam illuminated a narrow path, and she darted down it, her heart pounding in her ears. Behind her, she could hear the rustling of leaves and the snarls of the creatures as they pursued her. "This way!" she shouted to herself, pushing through the greenery. The woods were shifting, the trees groaning as they rearranged themselves, creating a living labyrinth. Just as she thought she might be cornered, she spotted a dark opening in the ground, a cave entrance, half hidden by vines and roots. Without a second thought, she dove inside, the cool air hitting her like a wave as she landed on the damp ground. Inside, the cave was illuminated by a faint glow, crystals embedded in the walls, pulsing with an ethereal light. Cassie caught her breath, her eyes wide as she took in the remnants of ancient magic. Fragments of old tomes scattered across the floor, their pages whispering secrets in a language long forgotten. As she stepped closer to the crystals, she felt a resonance within her, a connection that hummed along her skin. With a trembling hand, she reached out to touch one. The moment her fingers brushed against the surface, a jolt of energy surged through her, and visions erupted in her mind. She saw the ancestors of Springfield, their faces twisted in anguish as they made pacts with dark forces. Children's dreams traded for power, their laughter silenced in exchange for control. Cassie gasped, the weight of the town's history crashing down on her like a wave. This was the true cost of the bargain made with the woods, a legacy of fear and exploitation. "No," she whispered, tears filling her eyes. "I won't let this continue." The visions faded, replaced by an understanding of her role in this tangled web. It was not just about finding Caleb, it was about reclaiming the heart of Springfield, restoring balance to the dark magic that had festered for so long. As the last echoes of the visions subsided, Cassie took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. She was no longer just a curious girl lost in the woods. She was a warrior, a protector of dreams, and she would confront the darkness that threatened her home. Emerging from the cave, the moon hung high, casting silvery light across the forest. Cassie stepped forward, her heart pounding with purpose. The shadows shifted around her, but she felt a new strength surging within her. She would find Caleb, confront Drax, and unravel the truth behind the dark magic binding her town to Black Hollow Woods. "I will not let fear dictate my fate," she declared into the night, her voice steady despite the quaking ground beneath her. The woods seemed to recoil, a momentary silence enveloping her as if acknowledging her newfound determination. With every step she took back into the darkness, she felt the eyes of the forest upon her, no longer judging, but perhaps, just perhaps, watching a potential savior emerge from the shadows. The heart of darkness lay ahead, but Cassie was ready to face it.